business owner, a coach, a professional speaker with 21 years of experience, and a mother of 8 who is leading one of the fastest growing organizations in her network marketing company. That's my next guest. So welcome to my channel and my series on success tips from entrepreneurs who work from home. I'm Gale Bates. I'm all about making productivity and accountability fun and simple for work from home entrepreneurs just like you. We think we have to be disciplined and accountable for every minute of the day, but I believe in turning your work day into something you look forward to with practical strategies that keep you motivated and on track. So I want you to take a minute to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell and be notified for more upcoming interviews. So my guest today is someone whose knowledge and expertise will absolutely blow you away. Grace Keohouhou Hao is an inspiring professional speaker. She's a coach and a leader. She's had more than 22 years as a business owner and entrepreneur, so she knows her stuff. And she's going to wow you with just gems of wisdom in this interview. You're going to learn about a specific time management hack that will increase your income. You'll learn about leveraging social media to grow your business. And you learn 3 ways to set goals that I absolutely love the way she shares this with us. You will definitely want to take a lot of notes in this interview. Well, aloha and good morning, Grace. It's so lovely to have you here today. I'm so excited to talk with you about being an entrepreneur, working from home, and you are a traveling mother, mompreneur, as we say, working from home. So welcome.
Oh my goodness, Gale. It is such an honor to be able to be here with you and those lives that you touch and reach.
I'm just so fascinated with the way you're building your business, and I'm excited for you to share all the little nuances of how you work as an entrepreneur working from home. And I'd like to start it off by asking you a little bit about the structure of your day. How does that work for you? Because you're a mom of 8 kids and a grandmother. I didn't know that.
Yes, we have 8 is great, and we have 2, going to be 3 grandchildren.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, Gale, it's such a blessing. You know, I think to myself, what if you can do what you love, and you can you can incorporate that and have the best of both worlds. Many years ago, people said, you know, you're going to either be a career woman and be very successful at that, or you're going to have a family. But oftentimes in the past, it was mentioned that you couldn't have both. And I was like, okay, give me a challenge and we will find a solution.
and you found it. Boy, did you
found
ever.
a solution.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I think, you know, preparation is key.
Yeah.
And so the day it's about preparing the day before to set the tone for the next day. I think that is when you're asking, my day begins the day before with preparation. You know, it sets us up for success.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, some days there will be days where I'm on calls and Zooms and my children will be in the car and they recognize that, you know, mommy is building a global business and we are building a global family business. And I want to encourage anyone that is building their business with a family, when they feel a part of it, they tend to support it.
Yes. Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah. So it could be that I'm doing a Zoom from the car. I actually was just on one before this. And, you know, my daughter, you know, forgot something for her experience. And so I'm navigating. The thing that I think is also the term that I like to use when it comes to the day is, yes, there's a schedule and often things don't go according to plan.
Right. So you have to be prepared for that, right?
Yes. And how do you navigate the unexpected and still be in flow and still be in your optimized state and not seeing it? I don't see things as a problem. I see them as an opportunity. So when my daughter gets out of the car, I asked her, "Where's your hat?" She said, "It's on the floor in the room." Knowing I had a Zoom and knowing I had this interview, it wasn't, it was, okay, how can we, what's the solution here?
Right.
Yes.
Great way to look at it. That's such a refreshing way to look at it instead of, tearing your hair out and saying, oh my gosh, and making it work. And I think that's what is really important, right? So when you talk about preparation, do you also talk about, having a weekly schedule or a monthly schedule, all of that?
Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up. Because I use a Calendly tool. So the
Oh, yeah,
people that I collaborate with, I mean, you can use any system that works for you. I
right,
found that that tool made it convenient for both parties. People can go in, seek out a time that aligns with their schedule and place themselves in that schedule.
right,
They have access to it. So at their convenience, they're aligning and synchronizing with me. And
right,
that makes it so efficient. So I'm not going back and forth finding a time that works. Again,
right,
success loves speed. So if
right.
I'm slowing down to find a time that works, there's got to be a more efficient solution. And I found it. And
Yeah,
so I share that with people and they plug themselves into my calendar based on the availability that I have,
right.
I make for my business.
Are you plugging into the calendar yourself, or you have an assistant, or how does that work?
Absolutely. So I had a lot of assistance in the infancy of my business, and I appreciated that assistance. I and what I found was that there were things that technology could assist me with that
Yeah,
would one create a more scalable, profitable business.
right,
And two, it was supporting with I was supporting with systems that I could I could use. And
yeah,
so when it comes to assistance, I have resources for that, but I don't have what I used to have. And
right,
what I found was that the business continued to grow and scale
right,
as well as the margins of profitability continued to increase in my business, which is, usually you'd think the more assistance you have, the
right,
better off you are. But for me,
right.
that hasn't been the case. I think I learned lessons. I think I had a lot of waste before. And
Yeah,
now I look at things and say, okay, in order for me to delegate this, I want to understand what are the mechanisms of function here. So I'm accessing resources. So for example, we have a translator for some of the languages in the countries that we do business in because I
right,
don't speak those languages. So it makes
right,
sense for me to have assistance there to be able to
right.
communicate. But other than that,
Yeah,
really streamline the business. So yes,
yeah,
schedule tech, leveraging technology. Yes, I plug myself into my schedule because again, I think a lot of entrepreneurs lack the time of creativity. They also
right.
lack the time of setting aside time to learn.
Yes,
Leaders are
yes.
learners.
Yes, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Yes, no, I totally agree. And while we're on the subject, so it's a digital world basically, right? And do you have any other tech tools that you use as well? Any specific apps that you communicate with people?
Oh, yes. I do leverage Messenger. I ask people what is their preferred method of communication. So
Right,
some people don't like audios because they can't listen to them while they're at their other job or at their other work, or
right,
they're on calls throughout the day. They want to be in real time, see the message. So
right,
I ask people, and that's a question for all of those that are watching, is asking people again, people teach us we teach people how to treat us, but we
right.
also important for us to learn how to treat others. And
Yes,
most importantly, so I'll ask them that question, how do you prefer to be communicated with? And if they say give me it in audio form because I want to go back and re-listen to it, or give it to me in text.
mm,
So I use Messenger. I use the social platforms. I'll use my phone. And again, sometimes entrepreneurs, they're in such a technological world that we
yes.
forget the human connection.
Yes, 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 exactly. It sometimes just needs to get on. You need to either get on the phone or you need to FaceTime or whatever it is, right? Yeah. Yes. But, there are other apps like WhatsApp,
Yeah.
which is a really great app because it's international, right? I'm sure if you're connecting with a lot of people in the countries that you're present in, that is a big help as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. I am a believer in WhatsApp. I
Right.
use that. I use it daily.
Yeah.
Use again, you know, Zooms. I do
Yeah.
a lot of Zooms, and I'm also, as someone that's open and receptive to new technologies, there are many people that are constantly introducing me to new systems that
Yes.
will make me better at what I do. And so, as an example, I have a conversation with the CEO next week of a technology that will support you in real time to translate, because I have a need for that translation.
Right.
And so
Right.
I'll be sure to share that with you or anyone that connects with me after this call so that they can have a peek at what that technology can provide for them. But yeah,
Yeah.
constantly looking at that.
Yeah. We live in a digital world and you're a digital mom, okay? As to imagine your children though, they're going to be part of that world as well, right? Yeah.
It's not, and I grew up there. It wasn't what was necessarily taught. It was what I caught every day,
Yeah.
being immersed in entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that there were no people would say, well, you got to think outside of the box. And I
Yeah.
grew up in a world that there was no box.
Right.
In the
Yeah.
world that anything was possible when you were committed, dedicated, and seeing how you can add value. When you add value, when you're focused on how will the other person benefit, you will have business nonstop.
Well, you are very, very blessed. You have beautiful parents that gave you that gift, right? Yes, you did. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about you travel a lot, but do you have a workspace at home? And then tell me a little bit about how you travel with that workspace.
Okay. So I have streamlined my workspace.
Okay.
And what I love is I can work from anywhere at any time. So I'm actually in my kitchen right now at my dining room table. Normally I'm not. I have a very massive office that I
Right.
can also use, but I like to be tap into my creativity and be in unique spaces at any given time. I find that you become a product of your environment. So I like to have a free flowing environment. That's very important to me. And basically, I can do business anywhere with a laptop, my phone, my ear pods, and my light kit. And I keep a very simple light kit I'll just show you here real quick. It's just a little tiny one.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Right? This is
Yeah.
my tool. When you're thinking mobile, you're thinking weight.
Yeah. Yes.
So, yeah, and all of these tools can fit in my handbag or in my luggage if I prefer, but that streamlines. And then, of course, my notebook. And I always have a fresh notebook, and it always has it goes with me. I'm a person that likes to take tangible notes. When I hear something of inspiration, I jot them down. But that's and then a laptop cover, and I'm in business. So
Yeah.
you everything can be scanned now. We don't need the days of having massive filing cabinets and having
Right.
massive paper.
Yeah.
It really it's a rarity.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's great advice for entrepreneurs who are thinking a little bit of being overwhelmed with the paper, that you really don't have to have it all, right? Talking a little bit about being overwhelmed, are there any challenges that you face as an entrepreneur, working from home? And, how do you stay focused and productive in your business? Do you have any little gems you'd like to share?
Focused and productive. Well, I honor my schedule. I mean, I
Great.
shared that with you, Gail. I'll just be transparent. My computer wouldn't charge my original computer wouldn't charge
Right.
per day. So
Yeah.
what did I do? I went out and I bought a new one, and I'll get the other one repaired when I can. But
Yeah.
it's so how do you be efficient and productive? It's always my efficiency and my productivity is that I'm very focused on making things happen within my value system. So being responsive is a part of my efficiencies. Honoring my schedule is a part of my efficiencies. Honoring my family time as well.
Yeah.
So knowing when to hold them and knowing when to fold them. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
My daughter said, "Mom, are you done?" And I looked at her and I said, "Sweetheart, my work will likely never be done. I'm choosing to set it aside for the rest of the day so that
Yeah.
we can create quality and experiences and have those moments that are memories today
Yeah.
for the rest of the day." I think sometimes challenges that entrepreneurs face is that they don't have a schedule. Therefore, they are not really dedicated to anything relevant to their business because they don't have anything that is that's in that they're working towards or working with.
Right. Right. And
Yeah.
I think that's so important. And you kind of brought it up, but it's like, especially with the children, with 8 children, you set, and I call them boundaries, but it's just people, so the children understand when mom is working and when it is time to be with the family, right? And that's really important for entrepreneurs to know. And I think what you said about honoring your schedule and probably letting them in on the schedule would
Yes.
be, is that how you work it?
Absolutely. And they all have schedules.
Well,
So they
yeah,
recognize that they have schedules and I too have a schedule. They've got sports and I have calls. So
right,
Zooms. And so a lot of my business is 99.9% of my business is digital and it's global.
yeah,
So, very a fraction of it is in person. And I apologize. I didn't know how to shut these I have all these announcements coming in and I'm like, I shut
right.
everything off. But we'll just
I'm not
work
hearing
with
it,
that,
so don't
Gail.
worry.
Good. You don't hear it? Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure. Maybe your guy can edit that out because I'm like, I shut all this off. What is going on here?
Edit that off. Don't worry.
Yeah. So they have schedules. I have schedules that what it boils down to is, and I learned this with our older children. With our older children, I traveled a lot. I
Yeah,
was gone most of their growing up, really. My husband, this is when it became evident that I was looking and seeking out something that I could do from home and do it virtually or on island.
yeah,
When I was in Australia, I would fly every quarter for years to Australia and New Zealand, and I would work in those countries. Your home country, Miss Gail. I would work in those countries for 14 days, and this was
right,
every quarter. And then sometimes my events would be back to back. And in that business, you're not going to say, "Oh, can you reschedule your 3, 5, 10,000 people so that it aligns with my schedule?" No, it doesn't work that way. You either embrace the timing of the contract or you set it on the side and they'll find someone else.
right.
So one day I came home, Gil, and my husband said, "Honey," because I was only on island for 4 hours.
Oh.
I was changing out my gear, went from summer to winter, right? And he said, "Thank you for visiting us." Gail,
How sweet.
how sweet. But what he was telling me was, "Hun, he has always supported my business and what I
Right,
do and how we
right,
do it because he knows how important it is."
right.
It it was at that place where this is a bit too much. I mean, we're talking, almost well, by the time I've traveled those 14 days plus the day each side plus the next event,
Right.
we're talking almost a month being away from the family.
That's
And
very difficult. Yeah.
yeah. And so from that moment on, I thanked him for his willingness to communicate what was on his mind so that I could look for and seek out resolution.
Yeah. And you did. And you
And
did.
how I
And
found
that's
it.
so exciting. And I love it. So tell me a little bit about if you have any kind of little time management hacks or productivity hacks that you use in your business. And I'd love to hear that.
Oh, Gail, I love that question. And I learned this skill from a woman I was coaching and working with years ago. And she was like, Grace, I'm constantly feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I have the kids in the business, and I feel like I cannot get anything done. And
Mm.
I said, well, give me an idea of your pockets of time. Like, where are your pockets of time? And how long are they? She said, well, I have pockets of time here, here, and here. And how much is that? How much time does that pocket consist of? She says 10 minutes. I said,
Yes.
great. So may we, for a moment here, write down all of the activities that you could complete within a 10-minute period of time.
Yes.
And she and I went through and made a list together of all of those activities. And by golly, she said, Grace, when we reconnected the next week, she said, this has been the most productive week I've had in years. She said, because I didn't have hours to work my business, I had minutes to work my business. And every time I went to activate, I had a list of things that I could do within
Yeah.
that window of time. And so that's a strategy that I've implemented, is having a list of people I can connect with, actions that I can take, what are the timely activities. And
Right.
I have more than 10-minute windows, but
Yeah.
this is the thing, is that the more time you have, the less sense of urgency you have.
Yes.
So I package between calls 15-minute increments. It's the way my Calendly is set, so
Yeah.
that when I conclude that call, I can pack in actions that I'm committed to taking. Maybe it's an event reminder. Maybe it's I've got a quick call and follow-up call that I can connect with. Maybe I have some flexibility within there. So the hack is, what can I do in 10-minute increments if that's your sweet spot? Having a list that's readily available of things that you can do or people you can connect with. And then, of course, having space. If you're going back to back to back, the person that you're speaking to first gets this version of you, the jazz hand version of you. Second
Right.
person gets this version of you.
Right.
Third person
Right.
gets
Yeah.
this version of you. The fourth person gets, what do you
Yeah.
want?
I know exactly. It's the buff. We call them buffers, right? Yeah. Having those few buffers, yes. But the 10-minute, 10 or 15-minute, I call them magic times, and they're in the nooks and crannies of your day that you find that time. And being organized with the activities you can do in that amount of time, I think is brilliant. And it's such great advice for anybody that's watching this today, because it can, I usually say you can grow your business in 10 minutes a day, and working on the activities in 10 minutes a day, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it, Grace. That's such great advice.
Oh.
Okay. So now tell me a little bit about, and I know you're big on this because of your success in your life, in your business. I'd love you to share a little bit about your goal setting process. How does that work for you?
Oh my goodness, yes. So there is sometimes what happens is that we set our own goals.
Mm-hmm.
And that may not be the goal of that may not coincide with our family dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned this lesson from somebody, and she said, Grace, I had a goal of retiring my husband. And then when
Right.
it was time for him to retire, he said he didn't want to retire. And I worked years, and she said, and I worked years at that, thinking that that was what he wanted. And he
Right.
had no interest in retiring. Can you imagine? So I'm a firm believer of documenting our own goals, and having not just a goal documentation, but also the whys and the reasons.
Yeah.
What are the reasons that I do what I do? And so discovering that often helps solidify. So goals to me are the tangibles. The reasons are the intangible. They are the purpose, the
Mm-hmm.
significance of this goal. So one of my whys is to be be an example for my children of what's possible as a woman, as a wife, as a mother, and of course, as a woman and a contributor to my community and a contributor on a global scale. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at how I do what I do is honoring my future generations as an example of what's possible.
Mhm.
But we consistently look at goals, um, and we do them individually and as a family. So right now it's no longer a goal. It's transitioned from a goal to being on the list.
Right.
We're building a pool area or a pool. It's not an
Mhm.
area at
Mhm.
our home. And this has been on the list for quite some time. And now it's becoming a reality. And everyone feels they're a part of it. Because
Yeah.
when mommy's on her call, they recognize that this is the investment and the pool will be the return. So
Right.
again, it's interesting how we can continue, like that's a tangible, but then also goals for what are we going to do this year for our community. So
Right.
where are we going to give our time? We've done a lot of projects for a food bank here in Hawaii, but this year my children are all old enough to be able to participate in that. So
Right.
I ask of them is what is our goal for contribution to that community to that cause? What do we
Right.
want to do? What do we want to give? How do we want to either our time or our treasure? What are we
Yeah.
doing there? But so making it not just my goals, but making it a community and a collective goal, but then keeping those whys and reasons in front of us on a daily basis. And many times people think, oh, I've got one why or one reason. No, you can have many.
Yeah, and that's such great advice. Yes, absolutely, yes. And so this process that I mean, expanding to family, community, I'm sure that's the same process you use when you're working in your business, right? With your business goals as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I like to look at it in three segments. So I
yeah,
like to look at goals as doable. So my first one is what is doable? What have I done in the past? What have we done? More importantly, what have we as a community done and completed in the past? So that's one area is the doable. The second area is the so I've oh wait, sorry, easy. That's easy, doable, and then the stretch. So easy is it can be done in my sleep. It can be done in our sleep. It's like our subscribe and save. People are subscribing and they're saving, and it's naturally happening. I
right.
easy. I'm not like it'll just naturally come to be. The
Right.
doable, I've done it, but we've done it before. We've accomplished this. We've had an experience with this goal. And then the stretch.
Yeah.
These are three ways that we can that I set goals where it's the above and beyond. It is something that we've never experienced before that
Right.
we are now living. So, for example, taking the kids on an excursion. When I went to Europe recently, I came back home and I told my husband, we're going to take the kids. What are your thoughts on this? We're going to take the kids to Europe and we're going to Airbnb it in a variety of countries for 4 weeks because our business is operational there. We can
Yeah.
work and play
Yeah.
simultaneously. Have
Right.
that experience for the kids. So again, then it becomes a goal,
Yeah.
and then it becomes okay. Now we're processing the tickets, and now
Yeah.
we're finding the location. So not just having a goal to have it, but have three places to win. My easy, doable stretch,
I
and
love
then
that. Yeah.
be willing to activate on it every single day. We're
Yeah.
going out. We're making it happen.
Yeah. Just words of wisdom. I just love it. It's so important to have that and to be able to incorporate it. I love the three areas that you talked about. That's such great advice. So I wanted to ask you because as you're busy, you're traveling, you have a very successful business, but for a lot of entrepreneurs, they struggle with being isolated and not connecting enough because a lot of entrepreneurs are introverts, and so it's so important to stay connected and collaborate with others. Do you have any advice for entrepreneurs on that subject?
Oh, such great questions. So few pieces of advice to reach out and to ask for it. Like
Um,
if you have respect for someone that has accomplished something and you would like to learn from them, you know, I just today, I just, would you be willing to share with me what supported you to become as successful as you are? What were
Mhm.
some of the, what were some of the, um, strategies? What were some of the goals that you had? How did you lead? How did you follow? Asking these questions of someone, if you're, especially because again, remember going back to my space, that creativity piece? It's the
Yeah,
same concept with who you are. We become who we surround ourselves with.
right. Exactly.
Reaching out, people are always honored by the fact that you have an interest in learning something from them and you have a willingness to ask.
Yeah.
When people reach out to me, they're like, I know you're busy, I know you've got a lot, and I will respond as I can. It's usually going to be a voice memo, but I'll
Yeah.
give them a thought or share an idea, whether they're in my business or in doing something else. And they're always shocked that I'd be willing to do that. Why am
Right.
I willing to do that? Because your success is our global success. When you're winning, we all are benefactors. The more successful you are, the more you can contribute, the more choices you have to
Yes.
give. So
Yeah.
ask people for, their words of wisdom to accelerate your own. The other
Right.
thing that I like is I like it when people invite me to things, and when I can go, I will. So
Yeah.
when you are experiencing an invitation, and it could be you're inviting yourself. You're seeing something on Eventbrite, or you're seeing something in your local area, getting into the rhythm of having conversation and being in with others.
Yes.
And
Yes.
again, I'll share with you, if you are going to go network, interested is interesting.
Mm.
Be
Yeah.
interested in what others are doing and what they're
Yeah.
about and who they are. And by the time that they've experienced you and your interest in them, they are that much more likely to be open and receptive to hear what you have to share and what you stand for.
Yes.
Interested
Yes.
is interesting.
Those meaningful conversations that you, at some point, you think that's not going anywhere, but they really go a long way, especially, and I've experienced that myself, moving to a whole new city, not knowing anybody, and had to get out there and meet people. And that's when the magic happens. You meet somebody and you develop amazing friendships and relationships. And that's how I met your mother. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how this all happened.
Yes, and dare greatly to do it.
Yes.
Because one of my mentors, he said to me, I asked him, "How did you become so successful?" And he said, "I found a way to be in front of more people in less time." So
Mm,
whether that's in person or that's digitally,
yeah.
how can you connect with more people in less time? And he said that was the deciding factor in my success.
And I think it is. I think it is. It's how much time you can apply to meeting and having conversations with people, right? Love it. Okay, so I'm going to switch up here a little bit. You are a speaker, you're on the circuit, you teach and train professional development. So usually I ask the question of what do you do yourself for professional development? But do you have any advice for entrepreneurs in making sure they are invested in their own professional development?
Oh, absolutely. I'm such a proponent of professional development. I think it was one of the massive accelerators in the success of our business and the companies. It's so funny when my husband was asking me questions about success, and I said, when a person is successful at something, they can be successful at anything.
Mhm.
Why? Because I told him, I said, I just have, I think what we've created is a beacon that directs us on how to do that. And I think that the professional development side of things is the key factor. So one suggestion is Audible. learn from the masters, access Audible, listen to Audible. I use Audible because I can listen while I drive. I can't necessarily read while I'm driving. Uh, I ask people, what are they reading? And a lot of
Right,
people tell me, ask
right,
me, what am I reading? Uh,
right,
that tells you a lot about a person, or what are some of your favorite books, and what are some of the reasons those are your favorite books.
right.
attend attend professional development, whether it's digitally and or it is in person.
Right.
I'm actually conducting an event this weekend in Texas. Why?
Okay.
Because there's a topic that we're finding that people that have a need for, and that they could use this to monetize. They could monetize whatever they do with these strategies. So
Can you share that
we
topic?
yes, yes, you absolutely can. It's called Promote Yourself, the
Oh,
Art of Influence.
yeah. Love it. Love
Yes.
it. Yes.
And then also we just started accessing a platform that's all around influence, learning the art. I don't know anyone that's could tell me they've mastered every social media platform, and that's often an area of challenge. And so, having this platform that teaches us how to monetize our message, how to transition viewers to buyers, how to, grow our audience, how
Right.
to, what does the lighting look like? What's the angle of the camera? How do you edit? How do you put on, put the post up? How do you create a hook? All of these concepts, and knowing that over 60% of online purchasing is happening on TikTok right now. What does that say? If we don't know how to leverage these platforms, we as a society or as an entrepreneur, our services or our products could be left behind because people are investing in what is in front of them.
Exactly.
So that I'm happy if there's people that are watching this that have questions around that platform, I'm happy to share more with you. But
Great. Great. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, we'll have all your information in the description below for sure. Okay.
yeah.
Switching out again here. I want to talk to you because you're such a busy life, and I love everything you're sharing here today is it's just so rich for so many entrepreneurs. But I want you to share with us how you, as a busy entrepreneur, I believe self-care is so crucial for
Yeah.
avoiding burnout, especially for a lot of entrepreneurs. Okay. So, what are your favorite self-care activities, and how do you make time for them?
Oh my goodness. So I call that maintenance. I was on a call once and someone was like, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going to get maintenance." They thought it was for my car. I said, "No, it's for me." I'm going to get maintenance. I'm going to go and get a tune up here. But so I have a membership to a spa where I go in and they will, and this is how I get it on my schedule, and it creates a sense of urgency for me because if I don't use it, I lose it. So
Right.
I am very much if I don't have it in my schedule, right? So I every month I schedule that self-care. I go and get my facial, I go and get my massage. I those are recharge. Some people see that as luxury. I see it as essential
Yes.
because
Yeah.
you will have a far better version of me when
Right.
when I'm recharged. So
Yeah.
self-care is having that membership
Yes.
and making that consistent investment in my wellness and in my health. The other is like I know when my body is saying, "Let me rest.
Yeah.
It's time to recharge this system."
Hmm.
And so when I can, I'm looking to get to bed earlier so that I can rise stronger.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
I
that's a
love it.
version of
I love it.
self-care.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
Yeah, and I see reading as self-care. I see going and I took my parents and my auntie and my entire family, I took them to dinner. I like having dinner and having laughter is self-care.
Yeah.
Going to the beach and putting your feet, and some of you live near a lake. Some of you are like, I don't have a beach. Put our feet in the grass. Like go
Yeah,
out.
we are blessed in Hawaii with that. We have. And,
Yes,
and
exactly.
we can, I just actually wrote about that in my newsletter. My daughter, called me on Sunday morning and said, "Let's go to the beach," just out of the blue. And it was that spontaneity that that you really need to apply in your life. It really helps you. Yeah, yeah. I love that. All of that is such great advice for the entrepreneurs that are watching here, Gracie. Love
And
it.
I remember, I mean, maybe they're establishing their business and establishing their resources. So it could be I'm going to make a cup of coffee and I'm going to go and sit out and listen to the birds, or I'm going to go and so it's not about the resources to do the spa thing. It
Right,
could be that I'm taking, that time to maybe it's journal, maybe it's
right, right. Doesn't have
maybe it's,
to.
yes, it doesn't have to cost something
Yeah,
to, as long as it feels good
but it's got to be scheduled.
and
Right.
have it scheduled. Exactly. That's the key. Or being spontaneous and say, look, I have a gap in my schedule, or someone's rescheduling. That happens to us as entrepreneurs. Rather than getting our panties in a wad or our bridges in a bunch, it's like, okay, well, let's navigate that. All right, this is an opportunity to go and to reset.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yes. Okay, so one more question before I ask the question. I ask everybody this, and you've given us a great overview already, but I like to still ask the question because we talk about maintaining work-life balance, okay? And striking the right balance between work and personal life, it's often one of the biggest challenges. How do you handle that?
So there's a few things. One is that I look for like time where, so for example, there was a time in my business where I'd answer the calls when they came in, even
Right.
when they were coming in late at night.
Uh-huh.
And there's a great example that no one ever perished from their call not being answered.
Yeah.
Right? They knew. And again, what example am I setting that entrepreneurship and success is possible if I'm available 24/7? Because most people don't want to be available 24/7 to be successful. They
Yeah.
desire to have the best of all these worlds. And I always look at who am I doing this for and who am I doing this with?
Yeah.
And so how do we maintain that? Well, making a decision that this is their time,
Mhm.
or making a decision that once this call is completed, I'm going to set it on the side and I'll be available to it tomorrow. And I know
Right.
for entrepreneurs, sometimes that's a very difficult decision because when opportunity strikes, you've got to seize the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, it, I also am a believer that my success doesn't pivot on one person's yes,
Right. Right. Right.
and that my relationships with my family, they do pivot on they pivot, like that is why we do what we do.
Yeah.
And sometimes we lose sight of that.
Mm.
And so, I was telling my daughter before, I said, Dad and I ask you these questions because our children, are our greatest treasure.
Mhm.
So we ask you these things because we care.
Mhm. Mhm.
It, again, if we don't pause, if we don't embrace the time we have now, tomorrow isn't promised.
Mhm. That's right.
So how do we structure it? How do I structure it? Again, it's in the schedule.
Yep.
Again, I get to determine where my time goes, and I always see time as treasure. So these are a few strategies. One is how, when somebody says, I'll ask them how much time, what is your, availability for right now? I want to honor it. I want to honor
Right.
your time. So when I'm picking up the phone, I'm asking them, what is your time availability? I want to honor it. And they say, I've got all day. I had somebody say that to me. I have all day for you, Grace, all day. I said, oh, I appreciate your generosity. And builds bridges, but builds barriers. And
Yeah.
I have 30 quality minutes that I have dedicated to this conversation.
Yeah.
How can we make the most of it?
Yes.
or I
Great.
have 15 minutes because time given to one can be time taken from another.
Right, right. Yeah. No, it's, and I think you've explained that beautifully and given such great advice on that as well. Okay, so we're going to the one question here that I always love to ask is if you could offer one, and I know you have many, but one helpful piece of advice for an entrepreneur working from home, what would it be?
Ah, okay. Goodness sakes. One, okay. Gosh, Gail, that's a hard one because my brain went to uh, you're worthy of compensation. That's
Right.
one, because sometimes we don't have the stamina if we're working our buns off for free.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, structuring the business to ensure that you're being compensated for
Hmm.
your efforts.
Hmm.
Um, and it's going to be two part because I see time as treasure. So compensation for treasure and compensation for time. Where is my time going, and what is and is it people can say I was busy all day, and
Right.
I like to ask them, and so what aspects of the busy was productive?
Yes. Right. Always revenue generating, right? Yeah.
Yes. What
Yeah.
was productive? Because people can be busy folding clothes.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And they're like, I was working my business all day.
Yeah.
Okay. And what were some of the outcomes of the work?
Right.
What were some of the
Yeah.
results? And it
Yeah.
could be the intangible. I felt good. I felt excited about what I'm doing. I
Right.
felt passionate about my role. But then where does the transition between passion to outcome reside? Because that's what deems a business is
It
the
is
business
definitely.
is profitable
Yeah.
and therefore it is sustainable. Pardon me.
Right.
It is sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Families don't necessarily support businesses that are they're not seeing a benefit from.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. 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 No, great, wonderful advice. And I think my viewers who are watching this will be writing notes for all of the everything that you've shared with us today. So I want you to share with us a little bit about you, where people can connect with you, what resources you offer. Just give us a little overview for about you.
Oh my goodness. Well, Gail, I this is such an honor to be able to be interviewed by you. I've held you in, and hold you in such high regard for decades. If you can believe it, we have known you for years. You contributed. You're in one of our books. I mean, you are someone that you're near and dear to our hearts. So to be able to have this experience has been amazing. I so just quick story. And again, for those of you who are entrepreneurs that love to dare greatly every day, which you do as an entrepreneur, you dare greatly daily.
Yes.
Um, 22 years providing professional development and training for over a third of the top 100 direct selling and network marketing companies, as well as traditional businesses that are out there. So, working for banks and schools and government agencies and all of the good things like that, as well as community businesses. 22 years doing that,
You know, yeah.
writing curriculum and delivering it. And it took me all over the world. Um, and until it was like, I just something in my, this is a Hawaiian term for those of you who are not from here, na'au, which is your gut.
Mhm.
This sets your goals, your gut gets your goals. My
Mhm.
gut was saying it's time for a transition. You worked with the elite leaders within companies, the chosen few, the corporate executives, the people that the company said I deem them a worthy investment.
Mhm.
And what if you could work with more people and have a broader impact? And so I was going to go do business as usual for a brand. and that brand was going to hire me until they sent me their product. And I tried their product and I said to myself after 15 days, I don't want to go a day without this in my body. And then I asked myself the next pivotal, impertinent question, which was how many other people around the world will feel the same way that I'm feeling in this moment? And my
Mhm.
decision was made.
Mhm.
And just like in the book Think and Grow Rich, where they landed and they burnt down their ships, right? They were like, we win or we perish.
Right.
Well, I resigned from my corporate clients. I had numerous corporate clients. I resigned from my position with my family business of 22 years that we owned and built to a massive organization.
Right.
I resigned from that and I went in and I've built an organization for over 3 years. And Gil, if I could make the decision again, I would.
Right. I'm just so proud of you. Just so proud of you. So tell us a little bit more.
Sure. So we're in over 50 countries in less than 3 years.
Yeah.
Uh, we get to serve people with their wellness, their beauty and health from the outside in, inside out. And we also have a technology that we just released throughout Europe as well as US, Australia, and Canada. And that is all around how to grow and scale your influence. And where that came from is we had an influencer with no experience in our channel, no experience in social selling, Gale, whatsoever. This influencer, within a month of sharing our products, had over 1,000 people on subscription, and he ranges anywhere from 1,200 to 1,400 people a month on subscription with zero experience in our channel. So just on those subscriptions for that one product, if they were buying one box, they would be he would be earning about 300,000 a year commissions on that one box. And with two boxes, that's over just on 1,000 subscribers, he's earning over 600,000 a year in subscriptions on that one product. So the brand knew that there's something to be said about influence and how to create how influencers that can be in front of more people in less time and
Yeah.
how, by having a product that they can create reoccurring revenue, how the alignment of that could grow and scale worldwide. And
Right.
so we took these very unique value propositions and aligned them to be first to market. We've already received Yahoo Finance Awards and all of these various global awards as a result of our innovation. And it comes back to the fact that, again, when we're standing still, we're behind. If we're unwilling to pivot like
Mhm.
Blockbuster would not pivot.
Mhm.
Kodak would not pivot. And
Right.
therefore, they are nowhere. Well, Blockbuster, I think, has one location, and that's in the
No,
original one
that's
in Oregon. Not even sure if it still exists. I think people it's like a token location
right.
because Netflix took over because they were willing to innovate and pivot,
Yeah.
knowing what would be in demand into the future. And that's what I'll recommend for those of you who are entrepreneurs. It's not just for right now.
Right.
It is looking at what is going to be the essential 5, 10, 20 years from now. And when we're standing still, we're behind. When we're innovating, we're embracing all that will be essential. And so now, again, like I said, case in point, over 60% of purchasing is happening on TikTok, but the majority of the people that I've had conversations with have zero clue how to share on social media to create traction and profitability.
Mhm. Mhm. No, it's an exciting time. I'm just blown away. It's an exciting business. I want you to share now exactly where people can connect with you. What is the best way? Because we're going to put all of that in the description below.
Yes. So my social handles are all going to be in the description below. You can find me Grace Keohouhou Hao on all of the platforms. So that's How Hao. So Grace Keohouhou
Yeah.
Keohou How, and all the social platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and all that. I'm working on my TikTok. That's why I'm a user of this platform so I can learn how to do that.
Good. Good.
Yeah. And then you can email me, grace@coachwithgrace.com, you
Great.
know, or
Yeah.
and
Great.
you'll see my contact information there. Let's have
Right.
a conversation.
That's a resource that you're going to be offering as well, right? Yes.
Yeah. I'm
Beautiful.
offering a consultation. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're saying, Grace, I want to refine, I want to scale, I want to, I have questions.
Yes.
Maybe it's, I want a quick assessment of my brand and business, what I'm doing and what's working well, and what adjustments I could make so that I can be innovating into the future, and there would be a demand and need for my service, because
Right.
some people, they're working in isolation, as you said. And what if you could have a thoughtful collaboration? And so that's what I'm offering. It's going to be a 15-minute complimentary consultation. I will ask you to prepare for that with a quick preparation sheet, but it's completely complimentary. And it is not to upsell you for my coaching, because I don't offer it publicly anymore. I only
Right.
offer it to people that have worked with me in the past, or my previous clients, or my current organization. So I just want you to know that the consultation is truly an add value consultation.
I know it would be anybody who is an entrepreneur who is looking to scale their business or look at other ventures should take advantage of this great opportunity. Grace, this has just been so wonderful today for you to share all of your wisdom. I am honored to have you be part of this series, and I really want to thank you for being here today, my sweet.
Oh, thank you, Gail. It's such a joy. And congratulations for those of you who are plugging into this wealth of knowledge with Gail. It's an ongoing gift that keeps on giving. And I'm excited to continue to learn from you and all of your interviews as well, Gail. Thank you so much.
I feel so honored to have Grace share this invaluable information for you, because as an entrepreneur, we are faced with so many different decisions every day. And what I love about Grace is what she talked about, where she said she honors her schedule. Oh, that was pretty important. Are you someone who honors your schedule? Are you someone who includes family with your goals? You know, Grace shared a lot about how whatever goals she's working on, she includes her family with it. And I love the way she shared with us how she structures her business to ensure she's being compensated. Those were very wise words. And most of all, she talked a lot about valuing your time as a treasure. Love those words that Grace gave us. All these gems of wisdom are very, very precious. So my question for you today is, if time is a treasure for you, how are you managing your time? Leave a comment below. And if you need help with this, use the word time in the comments, and I'll send you my free time audit exercise. It's great to learn exactly where you're putting your time. And if you're looking to grow your influence to be in front of more people in less time, then don't miss scheduling that 15-minute complimentary consultation that Grace is offering in the link below. Now, don't forget to subscribe for more upcoming videos, and I'll see you on the next video.